for yet another exciting session which is going to happen on the fourth edition of Global Water Management Conclave, focusing on Government of Madhya Pradesh and Har Ghar Jal. In the inaugural session, we have already seen galaxy of speakers from the water ecosystem, from Government of Madhya Pradesh, Government of India, industry have come together and discuss and deliberate upon various aspects of creating that effective ecosystem for the implementation of a successful Har Ghar Jal mission in the state of Madhya Pradesh. And now we have come to a very important session of this entire event. This session is all about exploring opportunities of collaboration between MP Jal Nigam and probable partners. And here we have with us Dr. Tejaswi Nayak, IS Managing Director, MP Jal Nigam, also the program chair and the main man behind this event to be organized, who will be sharing a presentation and his thoughts on what kind of work MP Jal Nigam wants to do and what are his expectations from the industry. And for that, we have industry leaders across India with us today. Let me introduce to all of you. We have with us Mr. Ajay Popar, President, Ion Exchange. We welcome Mr. Ajay. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are joined by Mr. Rajneesh Chopra, Global Head Business Development, VA Take Wabag. We welcome Mr. Rajneesh. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are joined by Mr. Sanjeev Sirsi, Associate Vice President, Water Utility, Grand Force Pumps India Private Limited, and Manoj Kumar Mishra, AVP and Head Projects, Adani Water. And we are also joined by Mr. Chandrakant Manjupkar, AVP Business Development India, Wellspun Enterprise. We welcome all of you. Without taking much time, let me hand over the session to Dr. Tejaswi Nayak, MD, MP Jal Nigam and Program Chair of 4th edition of Global Water Management Conclave. Over to you. Before we start, I just request all of our esteemed speakers to kindly confine their slots within 10 minutes because we're running a little late with our agenda. But over to you, Mr. Tejaswi Nayak, MD, MP Jal Nigam. Over to you.
Thank you, Souvik. I welcome all the esteemed participants to this session. Can we have the presentation, please? Yeah, we have had some very good presentations since morning. There have been eminent speakers from the policy perspective who have spoken about the Jal Jeevan mission. There has been a technological perspective, and then there has been a citizen perspective also. It is very heartening to know that all of us are on the same page and we think alike. That is to bring water to the needy people. So, just starting with this presentation now, I would like to give an overview of what Jal Nigam is and what opportunities lie here. In the coming sessions, my colleagues will also take you through about more focused aspects of this corporation and the opportunities that that are available here. That I think is in the second half of the day. So I will try to give you an overview about what we do, because earlier in the day it has been a general talk about the Jal Jeevan mission as well as what Madhya Pradesh is doing in Jal Jeevan mission. Next slide, please. Next. Yeah, about Jal Nigam, we have been a company since 2012, and the Honorable Chief Minister Madhya Pradesh is the chairman of this company. Later, I will be showing you the hierarchy and the makeup of this company also. Our mandate, just to make it clear at the outset itself, our mandate is to provide rural water supply, water supply to all the rural areas in the state. That doesn't mean we don't service urban areas. As and when required and wherever demanded, we do make provisions for urban areas also in coordination with MP Urban Development Corporation, who is actually responsible for water supply to urban areas. And we do serve bulk water to the urban areas where we take water to the outside of the city, from where the distribution is taken care by the urban department. Next. Our vision includes water supply also and sewage also. Though I would want to give you information, we are yet to work on sewage. We are mostly engrossed in providing water supply to rural areas. And our rural area water supply schemes, they are called as multi-village schemes or RWSS rural water supply schemes. They have provisions for 5% industrial use. Industrial use in the sense local industries, the cottage industries, and then there's a provision for emergency situations. Apart from that, rest of the water is for individual families that populate in the village. We are supposed to give them functional household tap connection. This term is going to be repetitive in the coming time. FHTC, as we call it, as functional household tap connection. That's the connection we give to one household or one family. Next. As I said, FHTC is the key word these days, and Jal Jeevan Mission mandates providing of 55 liters per day to each family, and this we intend to do by 2023. Let me give you a detail here. In MP, in Madhya Pradesh, we are Jal Nigam as in we are servicing. We are targeting servicing of about 40% of the area. Rest of the 60% of the area is to be serviced by PHE department through its single village schemes. Now, why this planning is there? I would want to give you details about that. In MP, being a plateau state, though it is blessed by numerous rivers, some of which are almost like perennial rivers, the groundwater level is not dependable in almost all the areas. Wherever it is dependable, the government is going for single village schemes, and wherever we have water source, dependable water source, say WRD dam or NVDA water structure, we have agreement with them, and once that is through, we go for a planning phase, and on the basis of water available, we come up with schemes. So that is how we have been working, and as I will explain in the further slides, I will tell you how we have learned doing business also, how we have learned from our mistakes also, and how we have got a lot of learning opportunities also. Next. As I said, we are headed by Honorable Chief Minister, who is our chairman. For guidance, we have vice chairmen in the cabinet ministers, who are Public Health Engineering Minister, Panchayat Minister, and Urban Minister, and also our Honorable Chief Secretary. Almost all the important departments are covered in the directorship, as you can see in the slide. As per Company Act norms, we have a women director and independent directors also. And the day-to-day business is taken care of by managing director, and is assisted by the engineer-in-chief, who is called as project director. So, just to give an overview, I have already mentioned what is the makeup of our project. 100% of the water, 5% is kept aside for industrial use, 5% is for contingency use, and rest is for drinking purpose for the families. And we also do separate projects on demand basis, like the one we are implementing right now for army authorities in Sagar, wherein we were asked to lay in pipeline and provide drinking water to one of the cantonments. We are doing that, and in the coming days, we intend to do more such projects wherein we do schemes independently. But to talk about this year, we are totally overloaded with the targets of Jal Jeevan Mission, and we are working at breakneck speed, and that is where we intend to have best of the partners and best of guidance. So we keep doing and discussing such seminars. We do a lot of consultations, and all the overall target is to ensure that we meet our mandate of providing water by 2023. Our planning is based on the water available, as I said. We depend on WRD structures and Narmada Valley Development Authority structures. Wherever we have water allocation, we go ahead. In this way, I will show you in the coming slides, we have worked out for 40% of MP. And where we don't have source, we are in consultation with the concerned departments. There we may have to look at a longer time period so that we give sustainable water to people, population involved. Next slide. Before I go any further, I wanted to keep this slide specially because I would want to give a perspective of what our work entails. We may talk about some heavy engineering, we may talk about a lot of funding involvement, we may talk about technology, but this is something which is at the core of our implementation schemes. MP is, if I can say, infamous for malnutrition and infant mortality rates also. One of the major reasons for such conditions is lack of potable water. Now, through this slide, I would just want to show you. This is a study we got done last year in the schemes which are already running for last 2 to 3 years. Here, we got a study done for the incidences of waterborne diseases before the scheme started and after the scheme has been functioning, after the scheme has started functioning well. If you can see, earlier it was quite high, and after the scheme has started, it has really come down almost to nil. Even the numbers that are being shown are maybe those households or those hamlets where water connection has not reached, but it is part of the concerned village. So, looking at this, we can envisage what a difference this mission is going to make for a state like MP in the coming years. Once we complete all the projects and when we provide water to the needy, to the last mile, we go with this pious and very holy mandate, and we are, as our AC, our additional chief secretary said in the morning, we are really charged up to do this work in real time and in the best of the interests. Next. So this is a overall map of Madhya Pradesh. If you can see the legend, the dark blue color talks about O&M schemes. Those are the schemes which we initially implemented since inception in 2012. And the dark green color is execution schemes which are almost nearing completion, which will enter O&M maybe in the next 1 year. We have made a separate category for purely Jal Jeevan Mission schemes, which we have started implementing since last year. That is light green. And in the coming days, because Jal Jeevan Mission guideline tells us that multi-village schemes, all multi-village schemes, any and every multi-village schemes have to be tendered out before December 2021. That is this year, December 2021. So this orange comes in that. Of course, there are a couple of other schemes also which are yet to reach fruition, which will also be included in that, which amount to around 10 lakh more FSTCs, 10 lakh more connections. If I can say, especially in the area of Satna and Rewa and Sidi, and in the area of Jabalpur and Katni, where you see gaps. So coming to the first lot of schemes, the 19 O&M schemes which you are seeing in dark green color, these are our initial schemes when Jal Nigam was initially during the inception, and we have come a long way since then. These were the schemes which were ranged from 40 villages to 80 villages size, and very minor size schemes. After which, in the next slide, I would want to show you how we have progressed. Next slide. These are the 39 ongoing schemes which are nearing completion. After the initial 19 from 40 to 80 villages schemes, we suddenly jumped to 1,000 village schemes in Satna, and on average around 400 to 500 village schemes in most of these areas that you can see, dark green areas that you can see. And since then, we have had a lot of learnings also due to consultations with our contractors also, and due to our own learnings in project management. We have done changes in this lot also, and we continue to do so in the coming lots also in regular consultation with the industry partners. Next. This slide, I'm very proud also, and I would want to highlight also we are talking about the orange areas here. One, because as Additional Chief Secretary said in the morning, MP started a bit late in Jal Jeevan Mission. Jal Jeevan Mission was announced in 2019. We started major work. What we started, we lined up forming all the committees and all the basic requirements was set from May 2020. So I'm proud about these schemes because between August and December, we have conceptualized, we have sought permissions, we have tendered out, and we have awarded these schemes. That is unheard of in the history of Jal Nigam, and I'm not sure about other places, but that was a really fast way of doing things because we had the support of state government also and finance department also. And as Additional Chief Secretary said, we have no dearth of funds here. We are ably backed by the state government, and the coming schemes also, which I will be showing in the next slide. We are going in breakneck speed, and we are going to float tender maybe this month by the upcoming month, that is October, and the remaining schemes also we intend to float tender by December as per the mandate of Jal Jeevan Mission. Another point why I am proud of these schemes are mainly because if you see, they cover most of the Bundelkhand area. When we talk about Bundelkhand, if you can move the cursor to Sagar, please. Sagar and then Damoh, Chhatarpur, Tikamgarh. Yeah. That is Damoh, that is Tikamgarh, Chhatarpur, Panna, and then Sagar on this side. Yeah, that one. This is Bundelkhand area in MP. We are already on the verge of saturating the first scheme, that is Niwadi, which is at the top, small district that you can see, by December. That is part of Bundelkhand, and we have covered most of Bundelkhand in this lot. Bundelkhand, as you all might be knowing, is a high priority area for Honorable Prime Minister also, Honorable Chief Minister also, and all of us. And because there is a dearth of groundwater possibilities there, it makes it even more important that we cover this area, and hence we are really satisfied that we have been able to cover it in this law. Next slide. Now, the slide of interest where we talk today is about this area, that is the orange part, which I have already talked about in Bundelkhand also and in other areas also. We are going for tendering in very time soon, and we intend to finish these schemes in 3 years so that we meet the deadlines and the targets. So more on this later on when other sessions also come in place. Next. As I've said, we have had our own evolution. If you can see, the initial 19 schemes are the O&M schemes, and the size was small. And our schemes usually have 10 years O&M. So most of these schemes are in second or third year of O&M, and we are also learning what all other aspects we can incorporate in the coming tenders also. While talking about this slide, I would want to request the participants who are interested in participating in the tender in the coming days to also share their views to email with us regarding the tender conditions. Our tender conditions are already part of the public domain. Whatever suggestions that you want to give, of course, there will be some suggestions in the coming presentations also. But apart from that, those who have studied our tender conditions, if they intend to give certain suggestions, they are welcome. We may include some of them in the upcoming tenders. So coming back to the slide, phase 1 talks about our O&M schemes. Phase 2 talks about medium-sized schemes that I was talking about, mainly 200 to 300 village schemes. Phase 2.1 is our NDB supported schemes. These also have a component of Jal Jeevan Mission in them, and they are quite big. For example, the Satna scheme is 1200 villages plus. So it involves a tunnel and it involves bringing water from Bansagar Dam, quite a massive scheme. And similarly, there are a couple of schemes in Rajgarh and a couple of schemes in Jabalpur also. And the challenge here is always the hindrances part, the site selection part, the design part. We have learned our lessons there, and that's why in the coming schemes we have tried to avoid most of the hindrances that delay our projects. Hindrances mostly are in the intake side or in the WTP side, because if we don't clear those hindrances early on, they take a toll on our overall project time period. Linear hindrances wherein we have to do a crossing of a road or crossing of a railway line, we have been handling it well, and we ensure it is done within the time period. So in the new projects, we in the planning itself, we have tried to avoid forest areas for the time that is required in such areas, and we have been having learnings also when it comes to dealing with people and in the initial planning. Thanks to Jal Jeevan Mission, the district authorities are also very much involved in the planning process, in the implementation process, and almost every month or in 2 months, Honorable CM, when he has his collectors conference, Jal Jeevan Mission is an important aspect wherein the project implementation is reviewed very regularly. Phase 3 is Jal Jeevan Mission, which I've already talked about, and I'm again proud to say that in this 10 schemes, we have almost eliminated the hindrances part, the major hindrances part, that is, which usually affects intake as well as WTP aspects of the scheme. So we expect our partners here to really go fast and implement it at breakneck speed. We have made certain changes also. The Jal Nigam, which used to be there since 2012, is undergoing a transformation of its own, and we are expanding ourselves so that we handle this really fast growing challenge of approvals and design clearances. Phase 4 Jal Jeevan Mission, I have already talked about. These are the tenders that are now on offer. We are hoping we should get cabinet nod in the coming 2 weeks or so, and after that we go for tendering. The rest of all due diligences have been completed. Next. This is a bird's eye view about how our schemes have fared. What are the parameters of our schemes? The initial schemes served 741 villages, 19 schemes serving 741 villages, and about 1.5 lakh FSTCs. Tender cost was 1,231 crores. Next. Here comes a major change wherein the scheme size increased, and funding pattern also, there is a lot of convergence, and at 6,600 crores we are servicing 64 lakh population. Next. The Jal Jeevan Mission schemes, many of them are quite big size schemes, because thanks to the work of WRD and NVDA in Madhya Pradesh in the last decade or so, we have a lot of options for water supply. Now, as the source gets completed, as the water structure gets completed, we get water allocation and we put up a project. Thanks to Jal Jeevan Mission, we have had no dearth of funds, as I've already explained. These are the upcoming schemes, the details of which I will show you in this slide. So the total worth of the scheme is around 10,000 crores. we are again left with around 5 to 6,000 crores of project, which we intend to come before December. As you can see, we are covering the water scarce districts of Mandsaur, Neemuch, and Ratlam. We are going for 100% saturation of Neemuch and Mandsaur. We are servicing the tribal district of Betul and Chhindwara. We are servicing Bundelkhand in Damoh as well as Chhatarpur. These are really water scarce areas. Sagar also. We are uh, servicing Khargon through Narmada waters. Next. We are servicing tribal district of Mandla. Almost 50% of the district should be covered through these schemes. There are two schemes here. And again, Sagar, almost we are saturating. Damo, we are, I think we will be saturating through the schemes here. There are a couple of schemes around Bhopal also. This will be peri-urban schemes, and the rural areas around Bhopal will be benefiting from them. Tikamgarh is one of the most water scarce districts we have in MP. We, thanks to the Bansujara Dam of WRD, will be servicing half the district through that. We are looking forward for more water from the same source. As and when we get approval, maybe we will be able to complete the whole Tikamgarh district through water saturation. Ujjain has Indok scheme. These are some of the pictures of the scale. Just wanted to show the scale of work we do, and just to give a perspective, we already have such structures in 48 of our locations, and we are servicing more than 20 lakh as we stand today, 20 lakh families. Another 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs to go, and those works need to be tendered out in the next 3 to 4 months. Just go through the pictures, please. Yeah, as we go through the pictures, I just want to mention some of the earlier speakers were also talking about grievance redressal and certain other points. I just want to answer on that. We already have a CM helpline which takes care of the grievance redressal, and there is a regular uh, review of that, and regarding water use best practices. Back, please. Keep a picture. Regarding water use best practices, we are encouraging benchmarking of our schemes so that we reduce the energy bills also, and we empower the people, because our in-village water network management is done by village water sanitation committees, which is also mandated by Jal Jeevan Mission. Earlier also, Jal Nigam was doing through village committees. Now, after Jal Jeevan Mission, we have updated the structure. We have amended the structure. We are also involving a lot of women SHGs. Women SHGs do a really tremendous job in Madhya Pradesh. They are already into electricity bill collection. They are already into road network management. They are already into a lot of economic activities. We are slowly engaging them wherever our projects are reaching fruition. And in the coming days, we intend to have them for bill collection also. Regarding the contribution part in Jal Jeevan Mission, the Additional Chief Secretary also spoke about it in the morning. The scheme is designed 50-50. That is, Government of India is 50%, state government is 50%. And in the in-village infrastructure, there is a contribution involved for the beneficiaries. Wherever it is ST population village, it is 5%, and wherever it is others, it is 10%. Now, collecting this money is going to be a challenge. We are trying through our SHGs and other models. But in addition to that, we intend to use crowdsourcing also. Because it is such a pious intervention, I'm sure a lot of our countrymen would be very much interested to fund, own up certain villages or own up certain families and take care of the funding on part of them. Talking about the energy utilization, we are really looking into ways how to reduce our carbon footprint. Uh, the present norms that govern the solar energy installations, we are studying them and doing consultations because there is a cap on that. We have already floated tender for our initial 19 O&M schemes through Madhya Pradesh Renewable Energy Corporation, wherein tenders are expected anytime soon, and they are going to be really small. But we intend to have large solar parks in the coming days once the policy also becomes conducive. So we are doing consultations on that, and in the coming days also we will be continuing consultations because we would want to reduce our energy bill as well as our carbon footprint. So that is going to be a major challenge in the coming days. Apart from that, yes, as I said, MP is dotted by water structures uh, due to the silent revolution by WRD department and NVDA. And there is a lot of water to offer for people who intend to come and set up base here for the industries especially. MP Jal Nigam would be very happy to partner with them to create such ecosystem wherein treated water can be provided to industrial areas in the coming days. So once we have floated tenders for Jal Jeevan Mission and all the saturation aspects. Next year onwards, I think that would be a focus area for us, wherein we encourage more and more industries to partner with that. And just to give a perspective, as of now, of the projects that we are implementing, even if I take 5% for the cottage industries, that comes to around 120 MLDs. 120 MLDs on offer in different areas across MP. So that ways, I see a lot of promise, and yes, we have had our learnings also. I have mentioned how we have overcome the hindrances aspect. Though MP is a very forest-rich state, and compared to other states, the possibility of hindrances are more. But we are trying to target them during our planning aspect only, and through efficient handling at the central level itself, we have been trying to negate these hindrances so that they don't affect our implementation, and also they give a free hand to our partners who are implementing these schemes in EPC contract. So that's all from my side, and further details about our empanelment procedure and about Jal Jeevan Mission and about how we go about things will be in the coming sessions where my colleagues will be giving out details. Uh, Questions, if any, I think Souvik can be documented by you, and we would be very happy to answer them later
Right.
on. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Right, right. Thank you so much. That was Dr. Tejasvi Nayak, MD MP Jal Nigam, who actually told us what is the vision and plan for MP Jal Nigam in terms of Har Ghar Jal under Jal Jeevan Mission. What is the scope and opportunity for industry to collaborate with MP Jal Nigam? And for that, as I've said in the beginning of this session, that we have industry leaders from the water ecosystem across India. We have uh, eminent speakers from the various companies here. So let's have a perspective from Mr. Ajay Popat, President Iron Exchange. I request all of you to kindly confine your speech or presentation within 10 minutes because we're running a little late so that we can start the next session on time. So let's have a perspective from Mr. Ajay Popat, President Iron Exchange. Mr. Popat, you just heard Dr. Tejasvi Nayak. What is your opinion? What are the best practices you are implementing in some other states? Your thoughts on that? Mr. Popat, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear. I'm just trying to
Yes.
share the screen.
Okay.
Just a minute, please. So this is a slightly new system for us because we generally work on Team and Zoom. So
Okay.
just give me a sec, please. Yeah. Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, you just go to full. You just
Yeah.
go to play mode. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see it. We can see it. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So good afternoon, Mr. Tejasvi Nayak. Good afternoon, Mr. Saurav, and good afternoon to all my co-panelists and the audience who's been listening to this wonderful perspective from the Madhya Pradesh government. Particularly, Dr. Tejasvi Nayak gave a superb overview of the current initiatives and also the opportunities that his state presents to companies like us to participate in providing safe drinking water to all the households, keeping in mind the sustainability and the affordability factors. So I'm going to share some of the initiatives that I believe will be of great use or of relevance to the Madhya Pradesh government. And that's how I have titled my topic, saying that expanding water management initiatives using innovations in Madhya Pradesh. So I'll start my presentation now. Can you see the second slide, please?
Yes, yes, we can see.
Yeah. So, as what we see from the outside, apart from what Dr. Tejasvi Naik and when we heard everyone in the morning, this is our observation that upgrading water quality. We talked about Har Ghar Jal initiatives, integrated water supply project. When I say integrated, is that integrating it with liquid and solid waste management, retrofit and upgradation of existing assets, because a lot of assets have been built and they probably require to be upgraded. Maybe decentralize rural water management, disaster management for drinking water solutions, and extending our current initiatives in Madhya Pradesh. I'll speak about what we have been also doing and how we can extend in order to meet what we believe are the needs of Madhya Pradesh. Talking of upgrading water quality, straight away I'll go to the case study. This is a case study of an existing water treatment plant in Uttar Pradesh, and they had lots of issues with respect to the quality of water. It's a 200 mld and 120 mld capacity. They used alum and PAC and post chlorination in order to supply the quality water. But right through the year, they would have high turbidity and color, and this problem would get accentuated during the monsoon. The settling tanks right through the year were filled up with alum and PAC up to the neck, more than about 90% of the capacity, and the underflows were not available and the manual cleaning had to be done. So we introduced a synthetic polyelectrolyte, a coagulant and a flocculant, as compared to PAC and as compared to alum, which is also NSF approved, which is ITRC approved. And we conducted trials, and we were very successful, and we were able to now get commercial contracts based upon 1 year of hard work we did. And as you could see, we improved the turbidity, we improved the pH levels of treated water, color was significantly improved, and this consistency has been now maintained since last 2 years, even during monsoon time, with our intervention. And substantial reduction in material handling, because huge quantity of alum was eliminated, and also along with it the sludge reduction which was facing. As you could see here, this is an actual photograph, a video. You could see how clear the water is. You could see the structures below the surface of the water. You could see the aquatic fish and everything also very clearly over here. And this is one of our contributions to improve the water quality of. Talking of Har Ghar Jal, we have been obligated to supply two projects under the same scheme, which the Madhya Pradesh government is also implementing. And as we heard Dr. Tejasvi Naik, some 26 more projects are under tendering. And we were selected here for villages in rural habitations to improve household tap connections and to supply 55 liters per capita per day. So we remodeled augmentation of the existing rural water. We have to maintain service levels for the 10 years O&M period. We have to ensure that the water is supplied as per IS 10500, meeting the minimum requirement. And the supply of potable water should not be less than about 7 meters at the measuring point at each village, and also to establish a complaint redressal. And the entire project that we have been contracted with will have a control and monitoring system using advanced algorithms and artificial intelligence for all schemes through centralized, which will be observed at a centralized control station. So this is a typical scheme which also includes a solar plant to provide the energy for the treatment units, the pumping mains. We did carry out a lot of detailed surveys and audits for the tube wells and the Intex wells, identified that chlorination as a need, and also iron arsenic fluoride as a contaminant apart from hardness. We did the SCADA and the electrical load assessment, and we have done the complete GIS mapping, and we are ready to go about executing the project, which also includes a 10 years period. The third need which I defined was the integrated water supply project, and here we are very proud that we have been able to do it for the National Water and Drainage Board of Sri Lanka. The problem here was deficiencies in the existing drinking water supply, inadequate water quality, availability, conventional plants, no distribution network, everything that is typical of an aged or an old infrastructure put up in an urban community. And we did a detailed survey and engineering to refurbish and augment the existing intake and construction of new intakes, which is almost equivalent to the capacity of existing intake. Refurbish and augment the existing water treatment plant on advanced technology, the transmission mains, the overhead tanks and reservoirs, and the complete rehaul of mechanical and electrical, including SCADA systems and the whole civil associated with it. It was a 1,200 crore contract. We were required to complete it in 4 years. Last financial year, we have completed 950 crores, and this year we'll complete the project well on time, despite COVID situations. This is the scope: intake, water treatment plant, pumps, ESR, substation, last mile distribution, and of course the O&M and the piping network. New pumping stations set up in order to improve the hydraulics. This is pipe distributions, OHT, and transformers. Retrofit the decentralized rural water management. We are one of the biggest in terms of technology interventions here. The rural part of India is badly affected by, as all of us know, through arsenic, fluoride, nitrate. We have customized solutions through hand pump, as well as centralized as well as decentralized solutions, to treat these types of challenges, apart from challenges in surface water. So this is one example of very compact, decentralized waste treatment plant occupying very small space, minimal civil, and the whole project can be completed in a very quick time and handed over to whoever wants to do the operations and the maintenance. This is a concept of continuous sand filter, where we have put up several such projects at a decentralized way in Punjab to treat surface water, where the clarification and the filtration happens without stopping, thereby saving water which is used during backwash. And this is an advanced technology which ensures the treated water quality is consistently less than 5 ppm. And this is also modular in design from 2 to 100 meter cube per hour. So several such initiatives. For fluoride, decentralized systems as well as hand pump systems, as you could see, this is basically a hand pump system that you see here, and this is a decentralized fluoride reduction plant to reduce fluoride less than 1.5 ppm. The same way for arsenic, the same way for nitrate. And these are containerized water treatment plants which are used during disaster, where the surface water or the drinking water source gets contaminated, and more people die drinking contaminated water. So we have more than about 12 references in Odisha, West Bengal, and several other parts, where these units on containers deployed on trucks in order to provide IS 10,000 armed force and the services. These are some of our current initiatives in Madhya Pradesh: fluoride removal hand pump, the Lampac decentralized water treatment plant in Chindwara, Jabalpur, and Betul, the Lamela compact clarifier in Panna, a decentralized sewage treatment plant for the police in the housing. And these are some of our fluoride removal projects in Chindwara, for various capacities. And we believe water is everyone's need. Together we can make a difference. Certainly we can make a difference in Madhya Pradesh through our existing initiatives, as well as some of our newer capabilities in technology and our ability to turnkey execute projects on EPC well within defined time frame of our beneficiaries. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajay Popat, President Iron Exchange, for giving us an insight on what kind of work being done by your company in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and also in
Yeah.
Madhya Pradesh, but mostly in Uttar Pradesh, and how there is opportunity between Ion Exchange and MP Jal Nigam in future for collaboration. Thank you so much. Let's have a perspective from Mr. Rajneesh Chopra, Global Head Business Development, VA Tech Wabag. We all know VA Tech Wabag is one of the leaders in water sector. So let's have a perspective from Mr. Rajneesh Chopra. Over to you.
Thank you, Soik. Uh, you see, VATech, I'll just take a minute to introduce the company. VATech Wabag is a water and wastewater management company. It's an Indian company, globally headquartered in Chennai. Currently, we operate in more than 22 countries and have done projects in 30 countries. And we have around 110 patents to our account. So that's in short, I can tell you about the company. Now, what we have contributed to the water sector is that currently, in last 2 decades, we are producing around 26 million meter cube of clean water per day being supplied to the citizens. We are purifying around 30 million meter cube of industrial and municipal wastewater per day. And we are recycling. Probably we are the biggest recyclers of wastewater both on the industrial and the municipal front, and around 2.5 million meter cube of wastewater per day. Apart from India, globally we have been ranked as number 4 in terms of number of people we serve, and the total population which our O&M services are currently serving is around 71 million. So this is in short what I like to talk about the company. And coming to the scheme, I think we have been participating more in the urban space. So I think today's session has been very, very enriching, although I have been in touch with Jal Jeevan Mission at the sector level, but we have not participated so far as Jal Jeevan Mission projects are concerned. But based on what I have today heard from Mr. Malay and Dr. Tejasvi, I'm pretty sure that we have a lot of interest, and going forward, we would like to collaborate with the MP government in the upcoming tenders. So we'll be taking it up very seriously and try to do it. And maybe this will be the first time we'll be, getting more into the rural space. Now, in terms of what we can bring on the table, I think one of the key things is that, we can treat any kind of water. So irrespective of the source of the water, whether it is groundwater or it's going to be surface water, we can, treat any kind of a water and provide a solution. We have a successful track record of, not just building plants, but operating them for more than, 20 years also. Third thing which we bring on the table is a sustainability fact. Now, today we are all talking about, water. Yes, it's happened in every developing area, be it a state, village, or any country. That first is always, it's going to be the water. But that leads to a cascading effect in terms of the wastewater generation. So we believe more in integrated water management, which means both water and wastewater have to be handled, and water has to be recycled. And when I talk about recycle, normally when we talk about VATech is recycling water, people say that you are using the most advanced technologies to treat wastewater. Yes, we do. In 2003 itself, we built a plant in Namibia which treats a cocktail of effluents and municipal waste to the drinking water standards. And even where I'm based currently, Chennai, we have recently built 45 million liters per day recycle plant where treated wastewater from a sewage treatment plant is being treated to a drinking water standards, but not being used for drinking water. It is being used for industrial use by the Tamil Nadu government. So in short, we will be able to provide that kind of a solution, and then this will lead to it's a very, very ambitious plan of Government of India and Government of Madhya Pradesh. What we foresee is that to maintain all the assets which are being created, and I think that was stressed even during the talk of Mr. Malay and Dr. Tejasvi, that and that way India does not have a very good track record of management of assets. We have built a lot of assets. We have yet to. So there we have our in-house capacity, both for training and our O&M staff. So as and when, because we are not only doing O&M in India, we are doing O&M in almost 20 countries. So we keep on churning people. So that's even as a country, that's something. There are other industry players also here. I'm sure they are also working towards that. So that capacity and capability building to manage all these assets over a long period of time, so that whatever it is designed for, the final citizens get the benefit of that. In terms of digitization, I think today we operate a lot of our plants through SCADA sitting here, both India and overseas. I think this is something where even in the upcoming schemes, we can add a lot of value once we partner with the MP government. And last but not the least, I think if water has to be supplemented in case we find that there is a excessive exploitation of the groundwater, in case we find that is a scenario, probably treating the wastewater for various use, including agricultural use. Here I'll just like to share one small example with you. I will not be able to share a village example here. We had built, before the sanctions, it's a World Bank funded project of a 450 million liters of wastewater to be treated in Tehran, in Iran. Now there we generate around 8 megawatt of electricity which is from the biogas of the sewage treatment plant, which takes care of more than around 60-70% of the energy needs of the plant. And the entire treated wastewater through an artificial canal, which is 11 kilometers, is being fed there. And there is an agricultural belt on both the sides where it is being used for agriculture. As per EU standards, the treated wastewater is being treated, and as per EU standards, European Union standards, the produce is being planned. So these are a few things where we bring in a lot of expertise, a lot of experience behind us as an organization, being a more than 95-year-old organization, where we feel we can definitely contribute. And as I said in the beginning, we have not been participating in the Jal Jeevan Mission tenders so far, being more confined to urban space. But I'm pretty sure that in upcoming tenders of MP Jal Nigam, definitely we at Tech Wabag will like to partner and contest for the upcoming projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rajneesh. I always believe in the power of this kind of knowledge sharing platform because it ignites mind. It helps all of us to come out of a mode of walking in silos and work comprehensively. As I can say, and I think Dr. Thresi Nayak will also agree that this event has actually helped a company like Wabag to participate in tenders in water sector, especially for Jal Jeevan Mission. I think that is how we connect people and we bring communities together. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajneesh, for sharing your thoughts on that. And from Wabag, let's have a perspective from Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra, AVP and Head Projects Adani Water. And they'll come to Mr. Sanjeev, but let's have a perspective from Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra from Adani Waters. Manoj, your thoughts on what kind of work you have been doing in other states and how you can see areas of collaboration and opportunities for MP. Quickly, 10 minutes. I request all of you to kindly confine your time.
Yeah, I won't take much of a time. See, Adani has now a motive of building things for India. As you are aware, Adani has already been in ports, and everybody is aware that 70% of our imports are coming through the ports. We are into it. After that, we are in power sector. And 2 years back, we have now taken a big initiative into coming to the infrastructure sectors where roads, railway, metro, and water. And I've been associated with water for quite a long time. And I have been enlightened by the various speakers, the points that have been raised, the good opportunity that MP Jal Nigam has created in Madhya Pradesh. And I was very impressed, and a sort of energy has come into me, because we have done these sort of projects in the state of Rajasthan in the past, where water were provided to the different villages. We have covered more than 3,000 to 4,000 villages. Now, when we see these projects, which are basically EPC projects, and after that, as informed, there is a O&M of 10 years. Now, one very important aspect which I would like to highlight is that first, these water projects generally they are to be completed in a span of 18 to 24 months, which even MP Jal Nigam has clearly highlighted it. When we say mission, so okay, we are able to complete it in 2 years. Now the second part is we are providing water to the rural areas, means to the villages. And when water goes to the villages, one very important aspect that comes to the mind is that after completion of the project, the backbone of the success of this mission is that what is the services that we are providing. As I came to know from the discussion we had in this forum, that if we want to get a revenue generated for the water that we are supplying to the villages, it is very much important that we should have certain KPIs. KPIs in terms of quality, KPIs in terms of the timeliness with which what we have promised to the villagers, that the quantity as well as at what time we are going to provide them the water, the continuity of the supply, that forms a very important part, and which will give way for success of these type of missions. Second part, it also becomes very important that, and it is already being followed also, that all the villages that we are supplying water to, they have to be make a partner to this mission. And when we say partner, village committees have been formed, and when village committee has been formed, they are to be given the proper knowledge of the uses of water, because when we provide 50 to 60 liters of water per head, for them it is very much important to teach them the use of that water, because earlier that volume of water was not available to them. So lot of NGOs training is required for those people for optimized use of those water. And when we say that this is a mission means first it has to be completed in time. When we say it is to be completed in time, the second part that comes into the picture is optimized use. I very well agree that digital intervention, which has already now cropped up in most of the projects, is very important aspects, wherein we can check the quantity, the quality of the water that we are providing at different levels, and this will provide us the data in future to optimize the use of resources that we have planned for the projects. And the role of village committee is very important. They needs to be trained so that this scheme is sustainable over a period of time. And I think we are very, if you see the strength of Adani, we are already associated with Namami Gange, and we are doing 2 projects, one in Uttar Pradesh and one in Bhagalpur. And we are really, we have the strength that we have provided there is a very good project management, bringing in the good technologies which is required for efficient use of the equipments, power conservation, and very good utilization of the sludge that is being produced there. We are happy to tell you that we are running one of our plants on a gas generated from our gas engines. So sustainability and ESG norms, if you see, we are very up to it, being a big organization, and we are very enthusiastic to hold hand with MP Jal Nigam. And our only thought process is that projects should be of large volumes, so that our interest is there, because we can take and we can manage those bigger volume projects in time with quality. And we would be very happy to be a successful partner for this mission, which central government through Jal Shakti has taken forward. And we are very confident that we will give a very successful delivery into that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Manoj Mishra. You talked about a very important point of working with KPIs, especially for quality and timely management. And that is also you give an example of the states you're working like UP, Bihar, and Rajasthan. And I'm sure post event, both Adani and MP Jal Nigam can explore opportunities of collaboration. Thank you so much. Let's have a perspective from Mr. Sanjeev Sirsi, Associate Vice President, Water Utility, Grundfos Pumps India Private Limited. Over to you, Sanjeev. I am playing a role of devil's advocate, so kindly confine your presentation in 10 minutes.
Yes, I would do that. First of all, thank you, thanking the MP Jal Nigam for giving us opportunity to showcase what Grundfos can do in helping Madhya Pradesh get the proper installation and the project itself completely in the Har Ghar Jal Jeevan Mission program. We are basically a pump manufacturers, but then I would go through the slides, what we are looking at, and tell you what we actually do, what solutions we can provide, and what are the benefits you would use, or by collaborating with Grundfos, or Grundfos can do with MP Jal Nigam. Now, what we like to talk about is we understand what water is all about, and we know pumps are just not one part of it. So our value proposition to the customer when choosing to work with Grundfos is we work with water supply, distribution, treatment, wastewater, and treatment in our industry, which has already a lot of challenges. So at Grundfos Water Utility, we deliver water solutions that actually accelerate our water business and impact on water challenges. We have many solutions where we can provide intelligent solutions along with at every step of our island, as we mentioned it, right from the river water intake to the distribution to treatment and to the end user, and then recycling, and then to the sewage treatment plant as well. But here we would like to talk more about what we can value add into the solutions for MP Jal Nigam for village distribution scheme. What we actually believe is we don't think that the pump exists in an isolation. We actually started manufacturing pumps from 1945. Then we understood that a pump is just a mechanical thing, a device which runs on how the driver is. If it's an electric pump, electric motor, it runs as per what the electric motor speed is. If it is driven by a diesel engine, it runs on how the diesel engine performs. But how do we make the pump understand what the user wants? So that's exactly what we thought. And then we started working around the pumps, and then we said, how do we look at frequency converter? Do we control the whole thing? And finally, the remote management came into our picture, which means that at any given point of time, you would know how the pumps are working, where the water is, in case if there's any loss, where the losses are. Across the whole gamut of it, we can tell you what remote management and what the whole system is looking at. When given an opportunity, I said to our partners saying that how would we collaborate with MP Jal Nigam? We put a different name to it. We call it mitigating the challenge by smart way. Now, how do we do that? Now, first of all, let's look at energy efficiency. Not only our pumps are energy efficient, we also provide energy efficient solutions to, let it be a multi-village scheme or an independent individual village scheme. Now, if it's a multi-village scheme, we look at how can we give selections, or if it's an existing water supply scheme, we do energy audits, do retrofits onto it, ensuring that throughout the life cycle of the pump or throughout the life cycle of the project, you have the pumps working at the best efficiency and at the best efficiency point. Now, Dr. Tejasvi also mentioned about they have programs where there are individual villages where the groundwater levels are good. In India, we have supplied around solar pumps to around 50,000 plus villages, which are in a remote, far-flung area. So we have solutions where for a single village, we draw the water from the groundwater, and the solar pump is a unique product what we have. It can run on solar power, it can run on wind power, and in case if you don't have both, if single phase supply is there, the pump knows, okay, I'm getting a power supply from electrical source, it starts running the way it is. So we put in all the automation controls intelligence into the pump, and depending upon the source what it gets, it then acts accordingly. So we have around 50,000 plus installations working in India in remote far-flung areas since last 10 years, and they have been providing water to people who actually don't have access in the normal terms to have water, or they have to trek a lot of distance to get water. In the morning session, Dr. Ashok Kumar, Mr. Ashok Kumar mentioned about non-revenue water, which is a major component. I mean, be it urban or be it a rural water scheme or a multi-village scheme, because it's a silent killer. And there are, what we say is there are two kinds of losses. One is the apparent losses and one is the real losses. Now, the apparent losses are basically like, meter errors or billing, which is a known devil kind of a thing. But you have the real loss, which is losses in the pipeline, losses at various points, like in the distribution, overflowing of tanks and things like that. So we look at the complete system of leakages. We have worked around the whole system and then understand how do we reduce this non-revenue water. Imagine if 40% of water has been going waste. Look at the revenue lost in transporting that 40%. You have the power charges, you have the infrastructure charges. So we have systems which can actually look at the whole system together and let you know what is the non-revenue water, how can we take care of this non-revenue water, or what are the other solutions which happens to it. And then we have two ways of looking at it. One is through gravity systems, and second one is through pumping systems. Now, in both the system, we can ensure that there is an equated pressure management from the pump station to the first village to the last point where we're looking at. If you're looking at, there are some complaints in quite a few villages saying that the last village does not get enough water, or there is no equal pressure which the water or the tank is filling. So we have these solutions where we understand what is the best way of pumping water for the first village and to the tail end village which is there, which every component is then measured, and then we ensure that there is a very minimal water loss in the whole system. Those kind of system is also available with Grundfos. Now, finally, we would like to talk about remote monitoring, right from the intake up to the distribution system, up to the ESR, up to the level we can monitor. We can know where the water is, how the water is, at what point, what is the efficiency of your pumping, what is the efficiency of the complete system. We have a team sitting in Delhi, which takes care of all the remote monitoring, which takes care of the complete system across the globe for Grundfos in who sit in Delhi. In India, we have done these projects of remote monitoring in Mumbai Municipal Corporation, Kolkata, in Rajasthan, and a lot of other places where we have given the customer exactly to know what is the water, what is the efficiency, what is the power they're taking out from the system, and what is the optimum use of the complete pumping system. We have these solutions where we think can help in the scheme of Har Ghar Jal in Madhya Pradesh. Finally, the digitally enabled solution what we create has a lot of advantages. It's easy to operate and manage. It reduces your operation cost. It avoids breakdowns because our systems have understanding or knowledge on the predictive maintenance. So you don't have to wait for a breakdown maintenance, which is a costly affair. So we can align the whole thing and get okay, this pump is run for X number of hours, it's time to change a bearing. So we look at the whole system holistically and then provide solutions.
Right,
And
right. Mr. Sanjeev, you
finally,
can complete in a minute or so, please.
finally, just about Grundfos, we are the number one pump manufacturer in the world. We were founded in 1945. We produce 16 million pumps a year. A turnover last year was 4.16 billion USD, and we have one owner. When I say one owner, we are run by a foundation. So the foundation takes care of the complete Grundfos operation in the world. And finally, we would be proud to look forward for having a good partnership and association with a progressive state like Madhya Pradesh. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjeev Sirsi, Associate Vice President, Water Utility Grundfos Pump India Limited. And as you have rightly said, the end slide talks about that we must all have to know the importance of water until it gets dry, because water is very important. And I can see the going reverberations of what we have in the beginning of this session as well, that end of the day we all have to respect water, and we have to have community participation, sustainable ways of thinking. And that's what MP Jaldingan is trying to say. When Dr. Tessie Naik was giving his presentation, it was quite brilliant to see that in one slide in the tweet he was mentioning how the waterborne diseases have drastically came down in the villages of MP through through this scheme in the last couple of years. That is how you make an impact, and I'm sure many more impacts will be there in the future. With this, let us come to the last speaker of this very important session, Mr. Chandrakant Mandrupkar, AVP Business Development India, Wellspan Enterprise. Over to you, Mr. Chandrakant. Again, sorry, don't mind. Kindly confine your
Sure.
things 10 minutes, because our next session speakers are already ready for that.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Dr. Tejas Nayak, for this opportunity, and Savik for reaching me out on this program. And I will just share my brief presentation, and then I will share my thoughts on this. Wellspan Enterprises is, in fact, infrastructure player with a difference, I would say. And my today's presentation is mainly on sustainability in rural water supply projects. Of course, everybody has spoken a lot about this, but I am just sharing my thoughts on this. So if you look at in globally, almost 2 billion global population doesn't have access to safe drinking water, and 1/3 of that is in India alone. And government of India has already taken up Jal Jeevan Mission and this ambitious program to supply the doorstep, supply the drinking water at a doorstep of large affected population with the Har Ghar Jal scheme. So if you look at sustainability, I would rather say that, that unless there is a consensus, water is an economic as well as a social good, and it needs to be managed that way. And water be managed at a lowest appropriate level with the users involved and in the planning as well as implementation of the project. Credibly, Jal Jeevan Mission has already aligned this with the consensus, and sustainability of these projects can be achieved through innovative and strategic interventions at all the 3 levels of the project life cycle, that is design, engineering, construction, as well as operation and maintenance. We have already spoken about contamination-free surface waters and sustainable water source at a design level itself. Then ideal location for water treatment plants and MBRs to minimize pumping. Then optimal hydraulics, so that in the distribution system, if we are able to achieve through proper hydraulic designing, that staging height of the reservoirs and as well as the distribution system is achieved, as well as we try and reduce the as much as pumping through a gravity system. In fact, I have one example in Maharashtra. There is one scheme called 156 villages in Amravati district, which is run 100% on a gravity, right from a WTPs to end user. The entire scheme system is on a gravity system. So absolutely there is no pumping involved. So that is the kind of beauty of the scheme which they have implemented. And of course, now there is always a trend that solar power pumping system for all these rural water supply projects. And I would rather suggest that it is a grid connected solar power system, so that whenever there is a lack of solar energy in that particular vicinity, at least you are able to offset with a grid power, and then whatever the cost has offset. Since we have always been talking about SCADA and entire automation of the systems. In construction, we can use metal formwork for water returning structures. Then we should rather think of precast and zinc, aluminum, steel ready to assemble water tanks for a quicker implementation of the projects. We can look at precast chambers and covers. Precast buildings are already available for all these buildings. And again, entire SCADA automation, GIS mapping of the assets, and water quality monitoring during construction itself. The major impetus, actually, I would rather focus upon is operation and maintenance, because when we are looking at implementing the rural water supply project, there has to be a really training and upskilling of local manpower and for O&M. And credibly, MP Jal Nigam has already taken those kind of initiatives, and including not only at a rural level, but then the rural people involved, but then even they have really gender diversified approach in O&M of all these schemes. And of course, this will give an employment opportunity for our local people. And then in the process, we need to really develop a sense of ownership and willingness to pay for water supply, and that is already been taken care of, taken care by Jal Jeevan Mission. That is really another credible initiative. So I would rather say the largest focus is now required on sustainability of O&M with a larger community participation with for the real success of the projects. About Welspun, we are the global textile leaders in home textiles. We are the largest pipe manufacturers of steel pipes, right from 300 mm diameter to 3.5 mm diameter. We have plants in India and Saudi Arabia as well as US. And we are the infrastructure company called Welspun Enterprises. We are into roads and water already. And then we are also into warehousing and logistics solution. This is a 2.6 billion revenue Welspun Group with assets more than 1.1 billion net assets and more than 26,000 workforce globally. I will just run through this. What are the best practices in Welspun Enterprises? Basically, we have been looking at the long-term sustainability of water supply system, use of green energy, rainwater harvesting, wastewater recycle reuse, micro irrigation for water conservation are a few of the key levers in water infrastructure. In terms of sustainability and inclusive growth are the drivers for Welspun's core values, and we are into industrial, municipal, and agricultural segments. We have implemented 30 MLD wastewater recycle reuse plant at Anjar in Gujarat, which draws the raw sewage from adjoining municipalities of Gandhidham and Anjar to meet this captive requirement of water. There is absolutely no fresh water available in the Kutch, and we are using this wastewater there.
Right.
We have already implemented.
Mr. Chandramohan, you can kindly wrap it up now.
Yeah, we have already implemented industrial water supply project on a PPP in Devas industrial area where we are supplying 29 MLD water. And currently, we are implementing 2,000 rural water supply projects for 2,500 villages under the Jal Jeevan Mission program for Uttar Pradesh. And we are committed towards ESG initiatives there.
Okay.
So this is the wastewater treatment plant in Gujarat, 30 MLD. We have invested almost 180 crores and we have 35 years of concession. We are paying a premium of 40 paisa per KL to local municipalities. So the benefits, basically, we have eliminated raw sewage disposal in water bodies, thereby arresting water pollution. We are saving precious surface water resource for the Kutch belt. We have given a job opportunity to local population and plan to make power generation through waste sludge for power network. This is our Devas water supply project. Again, we have invested 140 crores, 23 MLD water supply project. This is our Jal Jeevan Mission, Uttar Pradesh. We are implementing almost 4,000 crore worth of jobs in the districts of Jaunpur, Sant Ravidas Nagar, Amethi, Ambedkar Nagar, and Bulandshahr, and almost covering 40 lakh population.
Mr. Chandrakant, I'm afraid that I have to stop you now because next session has to be there.
Yes, just last couple of slides, please. So we have a plant in Bhopal for steel plant.
Presentation, you can share with us a presentation.
So basically, you are able to see or not?
No, we cannot see the presentation. I think there's some technical glitch. Maybe you have not shared it quite well. So you can share it with us. We can share it with MP Jal Nigam MD office as well.
Okay. So basically, at the closing remark, I would say that Welspun is committed to provide one-stop solution for sustainable development of water infrastructure through continuous innovation and betterment in all its products and services. And we would like to really go beyond business. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Chandrakant Mandrukar, AVP Business Development India, Welspun Enterprise. You can share your presentation with us. We can share with MD Office of MP Jal Nigam and with other speakers as well. This brings us to the end of this very important session on exploring opportunities of collaboration between MP Jal Nigam and partners. We had the presence of Dr. Tejaswi Naik, MD MP Jal Nigam, who also happens to be the program chair of this event. I thank Mr. Ajay Popat, President Iron Exchange, Mr. Rajneesh Chopra, Global Head Business Development, VATech Wabag, Mr. Sanjeev Sirsi from Ground Force Pumps India Limited, Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra from Madani Waters, and Mr. Chandrakan Mandrukar from Wellspun Enterprise. Before we wrap this session and we start the next session, I request Dr. Tejaswi Naik if he can conclude the session with one or two sentences that what has been the outcome of this session.
Yeah, so quite a enriching session. I was very happy to see a lot of good practices being put forward. And though I just want to make a point, though sewage is not being handled by us as of now, but I did mention in my presentation that it is part of our mandate. So most of the speakers touching upon this aspect does give us food for thought, because once we start water supply in a large scale, we have seen in our previous experience in the urban area also, where water has reached where earlier water supply wasn't there. There comes the issue of sewage. So we need to incorporate in a much better way and in a planned manner. Though the mission talks about grey water management and sewage management in rural area also, but we need to strike a middle path here. So a lot of experience are being shared, and I think that will add to the understanding we have and the perspective we have. Technologically, yes, efficiency of pumps and efficiency of networks, all of them are going to be very important in the coming days, because that transforms into money. So we have to be efficient, and if we have to save our funds, then yes, maybe we'll have to invest in systems which keep us in good stead in the coming days, and that involves efficient pumps as well as efficient energy systems. Apart from that, yes, I look forward to partners who would be participating in our upcoming tenders in the coming days, and I'm very hopeful that we'll have a good participation. Yeah, thank you for everybody for being part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Dr.
sir.
Tejaswi Naik.
Thank you so much.
With this, we come to the end of this session. Do join us for the next session 2 minutes from now, because we're already running late and we have to start the session because next session speakers are ready. So do join us for the next session on future roadmap of MP Jal Nigam, in which we have speakers from MP Jal Nigam, and again across India, 4 to 5 speakers will be there. Will be interacting with the MP Jal Nigam official on the future roadmap of MP Jal Nigam and what are the areas of collaboration are there. Thank you so much. Do join us for the next session 5 minutes from now at 2:35. Thank you so much.